new lens.
And that's what the new lens looked like.
So what you just saw was me acquiring the last bit of this particular kit, and it was the lens here. So today I'm actually going to talk about my vlogging setup, so let's get into it.
This is
Kirby Kwan Jr.
Let's go.
I'm also only going to tell you relevant specs for vlogging because I don't want to make like a 20-minute long video talking about shit that you probably won't ever need to know about. So that's what this is for. So for the camera body, we have the Canon EOS Rebel SL2. This is a pretty nice camera, and it's actually my main YouTube camera. So for the most part, you're looking at a really light setup and great autofocus. That's what's relevant. You have 1080p 30 frames per second, as well as 60 frames per second if you wish to do a little bit of slowed down footage or B-roll. You also got great autofocus. This camera is actually the entry-level camera that features the dual pixel autofocus system. So it's actually the cheapest camera that has this type of autofocus, and it's really fast, really sharp, really effective. Speaking of cheapest camera with a certain feature, if I remember correctly, I believe this is the cheapest camera, at least as of now, for retail price that you can get with a oscillating screen or fully articulate vari-angle screen. It's not required for vlogging, in all honesty. It's good for composing the shot, but I find it could be a potential distraction, but it is nice to have and very handy for other things as well. Something else that I find to be really important, for me at least, is that you could plug in an external shotgun microphone, or really just any type of microphone for that matter. The camera body is really nice, really lightweight, sharp autofocus, and that's what you're looking for too. You know, you have all the accessibility you need to different lenses, microphones, and something to mount it on, pardon me. So this is pretty much a really great camera for vlogging, and you also have that screen that, you know, most people look for vlogging. So let's move on to the lens real quick. So this is the Canon EFS 10 to 18 millimeter f 4.5 to 5.6 IS STM zoom lens. It's a long ass name, but like I said, I promise to give you just relevant specs. So what does 10 to 18 millimeter mean? Basically, it's the focal length, and because of how wide that focal length is, you're going to be able to get pretty much everything in focus already. On top of that, it opens up really wide, so it's not just, you know, a close-up of your nose. You also get to see shit behind you, people behind you, background, where you at, stuff like that. This also features the STM technology. It just basically means it's a stepping motor, and it means it's damn near silent, if not silent, when the autofocus is working its thing. I will say this though, it's not the best for low light because, you know, it only goes to f4.5, and that's not really opening up that much. It's considered slower at that point. Not the best for low light, but, you know, it should get you through the day, in my opinion, and it does pretty well. So let's quickly talk about this fuzzy Kirby looking ass thing up on the top of the camera. This is just the windscreen for the microphone underneath. So this is the Rode VideoMicro. It's actually the entry-level shotgun mic for DSLR cameras, or I guess any camera that allows it to fit in. It uses a 3.5 male-to-male end audio cable, and it is coiled as well, so it has a little bit of flex in it, I guess, and a little bit more length if you need it. But for the most part, all you need to know about this mic is it takes reliable sound. With most microphones, you're going to get the issue of, can it take sound? Can it record sound? Can it do its job? Yes, of course. But then the issue is there's a difference between doing it and doing it well. And this surprisingly does really well, especially when you consider the price. You can get this thing for as low as like 50 bucks if you know where to look around, but on average you're going to spend about 60 to 90 bucks on it, to be honest. It's a really, really cheap mic. On top of that too, it also comes with, you know, this little furry thing. This is called a deadcat, but basically what it does is it takes away a lot of wind noises. And I've tested it too. It took away like a whole bunch of noises from Harborfront. If you check out vlog number 13, I believe, when I went to the Harborfront to catch a sunset and stuff, there's this one shot where Kevin says it looks like Titanic.
It looks like something out of Titanic.
I know, yeah, that's why.
I was like, no, it wasn't. The fuck? I was like, yo, you can make that noise?
And it's damn near silent. You don't hear any of the wind noises. It does the job really well. It also has the Ryco wire suspension system. And what it does is it takes away a lot of camera noises. You know, if you're shaking this thing around, you're not going to hear any of that. Now, real quick though, I want to mention about this cable, because I have seen other people use this mic, but they're kind of doing it incorrectly. What they do is they just plug it in and they just let this thing hang, and the issue is this. You could hear all that cable noise, and some people remedy this by flipping it around and, you know, whatever, but the way that you're actually supposed to apply this cable, and you know, it's designed for this, is there are these little notches on the dial that you'll spin into the hot shoe, and you just simply slip the cable onto it, and hopefully this helps. You could just slip the cable onto it, and it pretty much takes away that noise. So that's how you deal with that. The last thing that we need to talk about is actually this guy. If you notice, it's not actually on the setup right now, and the reason why I did that was because this is interchangeable with quite a lot of things. You could use just a regular grip, you could use a selfie stick, a really short monopod. You use the Manfrotto Pixie tabletop tripods too, and that will do you fine. This one particular is a Joby Gorillapod Hybrid. Now, with most DSLR setups, I would recommend you get the Gorillapod SLR Zoom, but the reason why I chose this is because if you look at this, it is tiny. It is tiny, it is lightweight, and really ergonomic considering its size. This literally fits that description too. Tiny, lightweight, gets the job done, ergonomic in the hands. If you're familiar with any Gorillapod at all, they basically all do the same thing. So you got 10 links of ball joints with rubberized rings for grip and comfort in the hand, I suppose. You also get a ball head as well. Ball head and a quick release plate. Now the dope thing about this one is, like I said, it's proportionate to this guy. I do have an SLR Zoom and I do use it, but I don't really use it for vlogging. I use it mostly for filmmaking. With this, I'm allowed to get like a really lightweight setup, and look at the size of this. It's tiny. If you've seen Casey Neistat's shit, that shit is like this on steroids, and then some. This is a really nice, small, compact setup, and it will get the job done, like I said. That's really what I'm going for. Lightweight, compact, get the job done. So there you go, that's what the setup is. SL2 Rode VideoMicro 10-18 STM lens with a Gorillapod Hybrid, although that's actually interchangeable. But what does this setup actually look like in practice? So right now we're going to do a comparison between the SL2, the T5, Rode VideoMicro, as well as my cell phone, which is about a foot or two away from me. Now the dope thing about this, as you can see, is tracking my face pretty well. If I just cover it up real quick, it's focused on that, and then if I bring it back, now it's focused on my face. Autofocus is really active, really quick, really sharp, and really dependable. Now, something I should mention is I'm staring dead into the lens right now rather than staring at the screen. And if you notice, when I stare at the screen, it looks like I'm talking to somebody else. If I stare dead into the lens, I'm talking to you, I'm talking to the viewers. Now, something else to consider is I'm actually vlogging with 10mm right now. At 10mm, you can see I'm not all up in your face. And if you look at, the T5 footage, my arm is not fully extended. But what happens is if I zoom this all the way into 18mm, suddenly my face covers the whole entire frame and you can't even get the top of the hat. So that's what the difference is made. Also, if you really wanted to, you could hold this thing all the way out and get way more in the frame. Way more than a kit lens. That's the dope thing about this. Since I'm using an external microphone with the setup, I should probably test out the sound and compare it with, my cell phone, right? So this is what it sounds like with the Rode VideoMicro, and this is what it sounds like using the phone. You decide what's better for you. But also consider this. This little guy on top, it could do good for outdoor shooting. But anyways, that's gonna be it for me, Kirby Kwan Jr. from the 6. Thank you for watching this video. New videos every single Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern time, unless stated otherwise. But that's gonna be it for me, Kirby Kwan Jr. with the vlogging setup. But for now, I am out. Peace.